Salut, Romain.
Broadcast.
Well, good morning,
Here
people.
we are.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. It depends where you are.
Yeah.
I am in West Berkeley. Are you East Berkeley?
I'm South
In
Berkeley.
North Berkeley.
South Berkeley. So the time should be pretty similar, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a very special guest today. We have Sébastien Espinaze from Fabrique d'Hélice. Fabrique d'Hélice is a national. You sell nationally, but the headquarters is just south of us in Hayward, California.
Yeah.
And Fabrique is the maker of some really, really great French-style charcuterie. The best, I think, in this
But they've
country.
been around for a long time. That's the deal, right?
Yeah. The longer, the better, right?
Right. So how long have you been around, though? It's a very old company in America, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the company's been in business for about, a bit over 35 years, yeah. But I don't know how long have you been, in the US, but, it goes back in the 70s when,
Wow.
when all of the French restaurants like La Bourgogne or
Yep.
Triano and all of those guys, had had restaurant in the city. Basically, Jean Lapouillade had a restaurant La Bourgogne, and he had
Right. It's that Denis. Sorry to cut you, James. It's Denis Lapouillade's brother,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
which
Yeah.
we opened César with. So Denis was one of my. I was a partner at César, so that's funny.
Yeah, César, yeah. Mhm.
And his,
Okay.
and his uncle Henri, was a sausage maker.
Yeah, Marcel and Henri, yeah.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, the whole Lapouillade family was in the food business, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So and they had La Bourgogne, and they were doing like all of the service with the little cart and all of that. I mean, it's very traditional, and they wanted to have like the best food, in San Francisco. So they had a commissary making bread, making charcuterie, making all of the stuff. So and and I think Jean had a cancer or something, so he had to. I'm still on, or
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
You're even bigger now.
Yeah, bigger now. Yeah. So Jean, I think was sick, and he decided to sell the company. So he sold the company to a French company, and who was making charcuterie in France, and the French company bought it, and it was kind of the US branch. Yeah. So in 1985. Yeah.
So what do you make in that? So you make mostly like.
I mean, we make mostly all of you can think of in terms of charcuterie. I mean, not as in French charcuterie, it's very regional too. So you have different recipe from north to south to east to west. So we make pâté, sausages, specialty meat, smoked duck breast, duck prosciutto, saucisson sec, blood sausage, lamb merguez. I mean the whole 9 yards. So lately we added on like jambon de Paris, and we are working with a French farm in the Basque region to co-brand jambon de Bayonne. Yeah, that we're gonna be launching. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Right.
So basically with COVID-19, the whole charcuterie had to adjust a little bit.
Right.
In terms of sizes and who to sell to, because 45 or 50% of our business was food service, so we lost it all. Half of the sales of the business went down. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. So you have been affected. Affected.
Yeah, we have been affected, but we've been kind of brainstorming, and we have a little funny story to tell. We used to go to restaurant basically for lunch, and when COVID-19 arrived around March 17th, so the week after, we bought a couple of kitchen equipment and start cooking at the office. And I was like, And we had a whole machine, like a multivac machine, like can do cooking, sous vide cooking, and I was like, let's do like a cassoulet or the base of the cassoulet, and we start doing that, cooking it sous vide, and and we start putting like a few meal like this and start selling it at the farmers market. So yeah. So and after we just did a few adjustments in terms of sausages. We did like lamb merguez and Toulouse sausage chapelet, like a coil sausage, because a lot of people were staying home. They wanted to be chef. They were not going to see the chef at the restaurant, so you have to provide them some really unique product that they could cook at home with. So.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So it was not a lot of big innovation, but you had to kind of tweak things around to be able to adapt to the to the market that were changing. Yeah.
So you're selling these ready meals at the farmers market. Are you going to have any other venue to sell them? I mean, are you going to try to sell them through stores at all, or I guess that's hard to do, huh?
Yeah, I mean we are not very flexible in terms of the sizes. So we've been in contact with Martha Stewart, who has a new website called Marley Spoon, and we sent them some sample, and they really liked it. But they're like, I think it's too French for us. We had to, our audience is maybe more, American audience. So we had to send us some recipes. So the recipe were meatloaf and potato and mash. It was shepherd pie. It was spaghetti bolognese. So it was a little bit different. But we're gonna be starting working on it this week. Yeah. So we have to be flexible during the tough time. Yeah. So
yeah, right. So hi for this old chef of mine in Paris. Really awesome guy. He lives in Norway and he makes food in
an offshore oil rig. Yeah. So he cooks for like 100 men every day in an oil rig in the North Sea.
Kenneth is back. Yeah, the Toulouse.
Yeah, we still have Toulouse. Yeah, we had some today for lunch.
Well, I would think products in general would be great for people that are at home, because the people that have to eat at home but don't necessarily want to cook or can't cook, your products are perfect because they're ready to go. I mean, pate. Some cornichon, some bread, you're off. You've got a great meal. Just make a salad. So, yeah. Have you seen store sales go up?
Yeah, I mean they went up a little bit, but in California, what we've seen, everything has been changing in like a weekly basis, basically. So at the beginning, the store were very busy. So the first 2 or 3 weeks, but after things start coming down because the stores, they kind of limit the hours of the daily hours.
Yeah.
Plus they were limiting the amount of people. So we saw the amount of sales we gain were kind of flat. But after we've been working locally with good eggs, and those guys would pick it up big time because people, they really think that going to the store was not the good thing to do because it was too many people. And now the hours were shorter and they were limiting the amount of people, so they were starting ordering online. But luckily, what we are doing like about 20 farmers market every week since about 20 years. So the farmers market start like picking up big time because it was outdoor, and all of our products are pre-packaged, so there's no cooking involved or anything. So it was the perfect channel to be able to reach some customers. So yeah.
So yeah, quarantine picnic, absolutely. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. So we are kind of worried because our products are a lot for entertaining. Like you invite people over, you have a pate, you have salami, cheese, and all of that. And now you could not invite people, over.
Right.
So for a family, it's a lot. But I think some people have been, inviting their closest friend, instead of going to a restaurant or,
So
we've done that out in the garden because we can have people sit off by themselves, and we can be at different ends of the garden, and we've been able to entertain. It's just been family pretty much, but but it's nice, and we always put food out, so it's a great time to get together with people.
So basically, we had on the show Sue from Cowgirls Creamery, and we had also Tom from Semi Freddy, and we were trying to see, what the changes they had to do as a food provider, since now restaurants are completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows who's going to open. I mean, I read 70% are going to go out of business, which is very possible. I mean, I don't see how you can reopen with that type of money pit. People don't realize, but to reopen a restaurant, you need the cash to pay for all that food again. It's like you just closed, you lost all that food.
Yeah.
And then in order to reopen, you just have to make all these new adjustments with no money, but then you have to buy all the food again. Like everything has to be bought again.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's insanely expensive. So I don't know how people are going to actually do it physically.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
yes. So yeah, I was with a friend, who has 2 or 3 restaurants, and luckily he has a retail shop next to it, and he can sell off charcuterie, cheese, and all of that. And I mean, I feel very bad for him. And on Friday I went to see him, and I said, look, you need to use caviar or you need to use DoorDash. And he's like, I don't want to sell my product, $6 or $7 more to the end to my customer, because they're not gonna understand. But I said, everybody's the same case, right? In the same seat right now. You have to do it because people will understand. They're gonna have to pay a little bit more, and they might go less to the restaurant, and be able to spend a little bit more, to support you.
Right, exactly.
And but he's a French guy, and he's like, I cannot sell smoked salmon for 35. I mean, salmon, for like $35. I'm selling it for 24. So I say you should give it a try, because in those time, this is what we have to do, to try. If it doesn't work, you change route, so.
Oh no, Kenneth, I know rent, insurance is not even the point. My point is, even by paying all that, which is, we're already in debt, but to reopen, you need to re-inject cash. And I don't think people get it. It's like, it's not just reopening the restaurant. You have to find all this money, and then you have to rehire your staff wherever they are. There's a reach. I mean, you have to clean for a couple of days. That's cash. You have to pay people to do that. Then you have to do those new things. That's money. And in a restaurant, you don't have that money. So I don't know how you can reopen. Literally, I'm not sure.
Fortunately, at César, the wine and spirits don't go bad, so they'll still be there when we reopen. In fact, we have reopened. We're doing takeaway, and we're selling cocktails in little mason jars, and we're selling wine by the bottle. And it's interesting. I've read a number of restaurants are trying to do kind of a grocery business.
But I mean, how much money can you do?
Yeah,
right.
It's just surviving, and if all of the restaurants go into that, it's going to be too many, after,
The PP loan, it's not going to get paid.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a friend in Sausalito. He has a restaurant called F3. And what he does like boxes that you can pick up. And actually, my wife and I and my kids, we really like, he does like some marinated fish. Once a week, you get like a bag with like 4 or 5 portions of fish. Can be salmon, can be steelhead, it can be swordfish, can be crab cake. And I mean, we get that on Thursday, and we really look forward to getting that that package, because it's pretty convenient. Because I mean, going to the store right now is not really fun too, and to restaurant. So
I'm starting up. No, I know, because I've made some food for how long? 6 to 8 weeks. I made some food, like some really good food to go, but I was losing money. So I was just spending even, and the headache and the nightmare it is to have, because my chefs are really good, so I have to pay them a lot. So it's a different program, but man, it was so expensive. I had to stop it. So now I'm starting to do a new concept, not new concept. I mean, a new concept for most people. I'm going to make a membership. People are going to pay every week, and we're going to make food for them. It's custom food. It's going to be more expensive, but that's the only way we can do it.
Yeah.
No way, man.
Well, I want to talk a little bit
For your food, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great time to get into canning and any kind of preservation.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about Fabrique a little bit. I wrote a profile on the company a few years ago.
Yes.
Which, oddly enough, I don't have a copy of it. So I looked it up on your website, and you have a copy of it on the website. So I read.
Do you remember it by heart?
Yeah, usually I memorize everything. This one I had forgotten, but I read it again. And but one of the things I really recall when I went down to Hayward and toured the whole facility there, that I was so surprised about, because I expected it to be huge equipment, just like huge mechanized things where they're cranking out tons of this stuff. I expected a big warehouse full of product, and it was exactly the opposite. The machinery was certainly bigger than you would use at home, but it was sort of normal sized equipment, the mixers and the extrusion machine to stuff the sausages. Most of the product was made by hand, and there was virtually nothing in the storage room, the room where the finished product went before it gets shipped out. There was almost nothing in there, because you're small enough that you kind of made to order.
Wow.
So you made to fill the orders that you had, instead of having a warehouse full of stuff getting old. Yeah. Anyway, I was just struck with how
that's crazy. So that everything is super fresh then. Is that what it means?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for us, quality, come first, and we always talk about, we prefer to run out of products and make a fresh batch rather than to stock up and sell, all product to consumer, because pâté and sometimes charcuterie, it's not an easy product to sell, and we want to have the consumer to get the best experience, to be able to buy it again, and if you had the bad experience, sometimes you just turn the page and go, so and
but it's funny because pâté would be my choice number one for my immune system. It's the most amazing food that exists today. That vitamin A you get from the offals, and the zinc and the B12. I mean, it's an insane amount of nutrients in those pâtés. So if you eat meat, you need to eat liver and kidney. This is like crucial. If you eat meat, you need to eat liver at least twice a week. This is an amazing food for immune. It's that vitamin A. It's preformed vitamin A. It's a very different vitamin A. It's extremely potent. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of zinc. Lot of there's
iron.
Everything you can dream of, multiplied by 10 or 20, right?
Yeah, because my wife, I mean, we had the 3 kids. So sometimes when my wife was pregnant, she called me and she said, "Can you bring me some pâté or even blood sausage?"
And like, iron.
I need some iron, So,
but the amount of that's what people don't understand, how incredible liver is. It's like it's an insane nutritious food. So you don't have to have a lot of it, but the kids can be very beneficial. You make a big batch in one day, like one day. Then you make a little pâté. Pâté is nothing. You go in the blender. I mean, seriously. And then you eat that for the week. Seriously,
Yeah. Well, and plus, I mean, a lot of our products are, I mean, all natural. So we, we starting the trend of all natural when I got in the company when, I think it was back in probably 95 or 98 when Alice Waters starting the whole organic trends. So after Bill Nyman, come also on board with the Nyman Ranch, things. So we were kind of doing also co-branding with Bill, and we had the Nyman logo on our product. So we kind of got into that wave and got into Whole Foods and all of those all natural retail store locals. So we have a lot of product with no sodium nitrate or MSG and all of that.
Right.
Well, it's very funny because it's exactly the opposite how some people see pâté and charcuterie. They think, it's fat, it's it's all that meat.
Charcuterie, maybe, but not. not the pate. Pate is it's fantastic food. So
Yeah, but in life, it's everything in moderation. So sometimes here
except
in America
moderation.
we are in the extreme. So when you like something, you want to eat a lot of it. So but
Right.
it's moderation sometimes is the key. And the balance. So.
What are you saying? I shouldn't, when I buy a pate, I shouldn't eat the entire thing?
No, you should eat two. You should eat
Now
two. No, the more the better. Doesn't well. It's not always the best things. So yeah.
It's hard to stop sometimes when it's
But
really.
pate is, I mean, yeah, you can eat too much because there's so much iron, but you don't need a lot of pate. You need a little bit every day. That's the thing.
Yeah. So
And we do
pate comes a lot, around the small table, when you're welcoming your guest and having a little aperitif, and usually you go it in small portion,
Right.
and after you go to the main table and have the the main dinner. So
You had a question from Kenneth, actually.
Yeah, there's a question there. What's your ideal temp and humidity for your operation to aid saucisson? Do you inoculate your products?
Don't talk
What?
like that.
yeah, I mean we do, yeah. We
It's a public show.
the what?
No, don't talk like that. It's a public show.
It's a public show.
So it says inoculation. I don't know what that means, but that can be good.
No, our saucisson sec or rosette de Lyon and duck salami, we age them for about 21 to 30 days, and humidity. I need to check with the chef exactly the percentage of the humidity is.
But can you explain how to make a saucisson? How is that? What is saucisson? Like for people who have no idea what it is. I mean, they see the shape of it. What's in there? I mean, how do you make it?
The saucisson, I mean, it's it's kind of a stuffed sausage, basically that it's dry cured. Yeah. So
What goes in there?
it goes pork, pork fat, pork
Pork
meat, pork butt, yeah, salt, pepper, and spices. You can have some different flavor like fennel or garlic or black pepper. It depends the flavor you want to put into it. And after it has to be dry cured for about, usually, like, it depends the size also, but if you have like about 10 ounce, it's about 21 to 30 days.
You don't cook them, right? You just dry them. There's no cooking involved, or is there?
No, it's no cooking involved. It's a dry cured product like a prosciutto.
Yep.
Or salami. Yeah.
And so when a consumer buys it, it's ready to eat. Also, we should point that out.
It's ready to eat. So either you have all natural casing, or you have an artificial casing. So if it's natural, sometimes it can be beef or pork or hog casing, or if it's an artificial one or collagen casing, you're not supposed to eat it. So you have to peel it off.
Right.
So most of the time, the one who are collagen casing, they all have the same kind of the same size, same shape, same size, same weight. So I found them.
I mean, Sébastien, to eat the skin is not a big deal, right?
No, I mean you can. I mean, some people will eat the skin. It's like the gelatin on the pate. Some people will eat the gelatin, and some will we put it at the side.
The gelatin is not the same as the skin. Gelatin is actually good.
Yeah, but the skin is it's the intestine of the hog. So
I mean, it's not bad. It's not plastic.
No.
Right. It's all natural.
Yeah.
Look,
it's what keep the the meats all together, in the salami. Yeah.
But I want to make sure people understand that if they eat a little bit of it, it's fine.
Yeah.
They don't have to go and completely remove everything. Sometimes I eat it, I don't even care.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the label, and if it's a natural casing or if it's a collagen casing. If it's a collagen casing, it's not gonna be good to eat, but you're gonna see pretty much pretty quickly in your mouth. Yeah. So
okay.
Kind of a personal choice too. It's like eating the rind of a cheese. Some people don't like to eat the rind on a cheese. And to me, it depends on the cheese, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean,
we need bacteria those days. We need more bacteria those days, because
a lot of bacteria.
yeah.
This is another example of bacteria creating great food. I mean, that's what cooks these sausages. Really, is the bacteria in the air, right? I mean,
no. What I'm sorry, chef, but what cooks it is the salt, and it literally dries it. So it doesn't really cook. It coagulates. It dries up and coagulates. The bacteria makes it a new compound, which is really good for you. But bacteria really don't cook. They just they process to something else. They ferment.
Yeah. It's a living bacteria, basically.
Yeah.
So.
It has to do with the flavor.
Yeah. But the cooking is really the drying and the salt. It's not really cooking. It's just it's safe to eat.
Yeah. So there's a good question for Kenneth about the uncured and cured, and nitrate and celery powder. I don't know if you guys see that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of controversy about uncured or cured, and it's more like a marketing advantage for some big companies, and trying to go around the nitrate and the celery juice and all of that. So I mean, we and I think I don't know if you guys experience that, but I mean, in salami, if you put celery powder, I can feel I can taste them. I can taste it. And mostly, the difference between nitrate and celery powder, mostly the celery roots are sucking nitrate. So even if you process the celery, you're still gonna have nitrate. But I think the USDA allow that to go kind of around and find a new trend where people will be forgetting about nitrate, but you're still gonna have in a way some natural nitrate in the celery powder, because of the roots of the celery sucking the so. But now I think
the root sucks the nitrate, but they distribute it, right? I mean, the root is here to distribute the food.
Yeah, but it's like if you're eating celery, you still have some trace of celery in you. So
I mean, I'm not worried about the nitrate. I just want to make sure that people understand that the nitrate is actually a very natural product, and it's actually very important for the body. So we need nitrate.
Yeah, plus nitrate is controlled at the plant. I mean, sometimes when you see some you have I mean, not everybody can use nitrate and put that into food. I mean, as a manufacturer, we have a regulation where
it could be a poison, of course.
Yeah, I mean, when we buy it from the USDA, we have it's controlled, pretty much every week. The consumption we will put in recipes. Sometimes if you have somebody's making pate, in the small places, you never know what the amount is gonna put in the recipe.
I know I talked about it before, but nitrate is something. So just so people understand, nitrate is everywhere. For example, there's a lot of nitrates in beets, a good amount of nitrates in raw carrots. There's a lot of vegetables with nitrate, and as soon as you eat nitrate, they become nitrates.
Yes.
And then the problem is the nitrosamine. This is where they transform into an amine, and this is usually due by oxidation or cooking or air oxidation or stuff like this. This is what the problem is. The nitrate itself is not an issue. It's when it becomes the nitrosamine. So you have to, everything has to. There's no poison until it's been changed. Like agave. Agave is a fantastic product, but agave syrup is disgusting. It's the same product, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not. One is cooked and it's completely changed to basically almost like corn syrup. You know what I mean? So the agave itself is fantastic, but when it goes to a bottle as a agave, syrup, then it's the same as buying corn syrup, because it's how the body processes the food. It's not what the food is really. So just want to make sure that,
Yeah, but it's like, it's like mushroom, a lot of mushroom coming from Eastern Europe,
right.
And they grow pretty well, somewhere, close to Chernobyl, So, but how much mushroom do you eat, every week, or every day, there is the becquerel degrees of mushroom you eat or in your body is not, high enough to, cause, something, on your system. So, Yeah.
So the nitrates basically that are in the reason why we talk about celery is because people know that in the celery there's nitrates, and that's what Sebastien was talking earlier with the wood. In the seeds we have nitrates, and it's been replaced. Instead of nitrate is used a natural nitrate, which is, like you said, it's a marketing tool, right?
Yeah, it's celery is celery is a vegetable, and it's most it's sexier, when you look at the label, so.
Well,
Then-
isn't the rule is that to call it uncured, you can't actually add nitrates, but you can do it through the use of celery powder,
Right.
and then you can say it's uncured because you didn't actually buy a bag of nitrates and put them in the sausage.
I think you could do that, but I think there's some change with the USDA right now because they just realized that, the large company basically, they have a whole department who works on claim. So the whole day long, they just try to tweak around, claims. And, one of those, with celery juice and nitrate was one of them, they tried to tweak around for, a while. And now I think it's going to be changed. Yeah. So.
Right. Cool, man.
With everything, even with the organic industry, when the huge companies get involved and start buying up the organic companies,
yes,
they have the political clout and the lobbying clout to tweak the rules and to change rules about what organic means. And so I always get suspicious when a giant corporation is producing a lot of organic product. I wonder, like, how much their legal department was able to get away with.
Yeah.
But
so cool, James. I know you have some question that you got, and Sebastien, you're welcome to hang out with us, man, or do whatever you want. You can stay with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna see what you guys gonna talk about. Thank you so much.
I wanted to mention something else. Sebastien, his daughter did a series of little videos a few years ago on how to put together a charcuterie plate. She also went and interviewed chefs in restaurants about how they use charcuterie in their restaurants. Are those still up? Those are still on YouTube, aren't they? I presume.
Yeah, they're still on YouTube, and I should have record a couple of more because during COVID-19, I had 3 daughters, and just to give you like a very short story, what they did. One of my oldest one did like a religieuse and chou au chocolat for like a restaurant that they were selling it.
Wow.
The other one was doing genoise with like chantilly and strawberry, and the other one was doing crepes. So they all been like selling some to a couple of restaurants to kind of bring them joy and hope because they were like
oh wow.
having a hard time. So everybody has a tough time. Even if you're a kid today, or even if you're a restaurant owner, you have a lot of challenges here. So
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gone. I want to get some water.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So stay with us and help us answer those questions that we have no idea what we're talking about.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
So James,
I came across a question about what does it mean to mount or monter au beurre, which is a technique that's used. And it's interesting because it led me down this road and I started thinking about all kinds of things. So to mount means to add butter to a sauce at the end. You whisk it into the sauce, but you remove it from the heat first. And that's what you've been talking about, Olivier, is about not cooking the butter, but doing it in a way that doesn't directly apply heat to it. So you don't.
That would be, so is that beurre blanc? Is that this?
No, it's like monté, which is and then, but that also leads to, there's also a thing called beurre monté, which is kind of a sauce, and then there's and then there's all these butter sauces that you darken the butter, you cook it until it's brown, like a beurre noisette. Is basically a brown butter sauce, which is interesting.
These
Six-year-old defined it.
These guys are
why not? My granddaughter's the first some of the first solid food they had was not first solid food, but the first cheese they had
Just liquid
at
food.
our house, and I gave them Parmigiano Reggiano. And both of them took a piece and they bit it and they just went, and then they reached out for more.
Wow. So you don't do the cheese logs anymore?
What?
You don't do cheese logs anymore and cheese spray?
No.
No more. Huh?
No, they all grew up on really good cheese. Good
When I first got here, I went to a party in Los Angeles. I got here when I was 19, almost 20. And I go to a party in LA. And the person was doing cheese whiz, like a cheese spray on toast, like literally like this. And I was like, I've never seen cheese coming out of a spray, right? I was completely like, is that for real? Is that cheese? You know? Have you ever seen that? No, seriously, it's cheese in a spray.
Yep.
You've
It's processed cheese. It's processed cheese. So they take bulk cheeses, and then they basically whip them up with other ingredients to make them more liquidy.
But like,
it's Velveeta. Velveeta's the same thing. When I was a kid, we often made grilled cheese sandwiches with Velveeta.
That must not be very good for you.
It's not, probably. I mean, I don't think I ate enough grilled cheese sandwiches to do any damage, but it's strange stuff. And it's processed cheese. And people say, well, it's cheese. Well, it's not really cheese.
No, it's not cheese.
It's mass-produced cheese that is then processed into this other product, so that it's smooth and soft and consistent, and it's very strange stuff. Very strange stuff. So we had a question, though. We had a question about maple syrup. Somebody wanted to know, how do you make maple syrup? Does it just come out of the tree that way?
I have to show you. No, keep going, because I have to show you something completely crazy about conspiracy. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, it doesn't come out of the tree that way, but it does come out of a tree. But it's much more liquid. It's almost like a water when it comes out of the tree, and they have to cook it. What is Kenneth asking now? How to make gyoza at home tomorrow? We're making gyoza.
What is he asking now? Oh my God.
So they cook it down, and by cooking it, it of course evaporates down into a thick syrupy mass, which is maple syrup. And then they can cook it even further down till it's still runny, but it's thicker than syrup, and that's called maple honey. And they cook it even further down, and it becomes maple butter. And then if you cook it all the way down so that all the liquid disappears, it's maple sugar. Pretty wild stuff. I mean, mostly what they make is syrup, but all those things. And the reason I brought it up was to point out the difference between maple syrup and maple flavored syrups, or the stuff that's labeled pancake syrup, which is basically hydrogenated corn syrup with a little maple flavor.
Wait. You wait until you see that. I was going to say a bad word, but I don't know what else to call this. It's just a little crazy.
Are you having visions there? Are you seeing things?
Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. Light. You know, they're changing the name of that.
But wait. Look what's in there. Seriously. All right, let's read it.
High fructose
corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, salt, natural and artificial flavor, just in case, caramel color, ascorbic acid, sodium benzoate, sodium hexaphosphate. So there is absolutely zero food in there. I mean, it is 100% disgusting stuff, right?
Well, there's corn in it, so it must be good. It's a vegetable, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So you know that the Aunt Jemima brand is being retired. They're changing that because I always was amazed as a kid that they could get away with that.
Yeah, I know.
But now it's considered, kind of a racist symbol, and they're going to do away with it. Also,
it's terrible. it's a complete. I always thought that was weird, even though I thought that was weird that this really horrible product was so targeted. To me, that was, because I used to work with homeless for many years. When I first started Kitchen on Fire, for 4 years, I worked with 18 Reason, and we used to train homeless, and they used to bring that thing, and I'm like, okay, they didn't know, they didn't know. So I said, okay, look at what it says, do you think there's any maple syrup in there? And they would be eating a lot of that, and they were surprised. Not surprised but people don't read the bag because I don't think they want to know, right?
Well, or
but
they just.
But then when they read it and I said, look, you cannot eat that, they were like, yeah, but that's so good. No, it's not. It's not good. Like, you have to remove that from your brain. But anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what's crazy is that people would eat a product like pancake syrup or agave syrup or any number of things that come in boxes in the grocery store that have a long list of ingredients. But then they would say, well, I don't eat pate because that's not good for me.
Right.
And then I would argue, well, read the
ingredient
list on the pate and tell
butter?
me.
Butter is the best.
Huh?
How about butter?
Yeah.
They don't eat butter. That's better.
Yeah, they don't eat butter. They don't eat. We get the people in Cesar that order the jamon serrano and they peel all the fat off of it.
Oh my God, Kenneth, you're funny. We're happy to have you on the show. We should have him on the show, actually.
Yeah, Sebastian, you probably noticed that Kenneth looks exactly like a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
His growth was stunted, and he never got bigger than that.
Yeah.
So maple, what's maple? It's a tree, and they go and put some stuff in there to pull the thing, right?
Yeah, they put a little spigot. It's from February. It starts in February, and it goes for like 8 weeks. What they call the sugar season. And that's when the trees are just completely bursting with sap and they get all this maple out. But it's very labor intensive and it's very laborious. So that's why it's expensive. And that's why people buy stuff like Aunt Jemima's, because it's cheap. And I would argue that maple syrup isn't that much more. I mean, if you get really, really good maple syrup, it can get really pricey really fast. But again, how much do you use? That's the other thing. I mean, you get a can of maple syrup. It's not like a bottle of wine where you're going to consume it in one meal.
And also, it's not really good to eat a lot of that. That's for sure.
No,
even
well,
though
it's sugar.
It's a good product, but yeah, that's not.
So anyway, Olivier did a great thing the other day. He was cooking bacon in the oven on these little cooling racks in a sheet pan. And then when they were almost done, he took them out and he painted each one with maple syrup and then put it back in the oven.
And mustard.
You what? And mustard. Maple syrup and mustard. Right.
So this is how they collect the maple, okay?
Yeah. Well, in the old days, now what they do is they run tubes and they connect all the trees with tubes and then it goes into a central holding tank. And then it sits there until they're ready to process it. But it's a pretty amazing. And the Native Americans showed the early settlers how to do that. They had no idea.
Wow.
Nobody had heard of maple in Europe before they came to North America. And
that's a really good. By the way, it's a very good replacement for sugar. It's extremely beneficial and it's really extremely good. It's actually a good product. It's like honey. The difference is, when you cook honey, you lose a lot of the nutrients that are available. As when you cook maple, it's not as hard on the sugar. So it looks like, in the chemistry-wise, maple is the most resilient to transformation. So if you want to use for baking, this would be one of my top food.
Well, anytime you substitute honey and or maple syrup in a recipe, you've really got to rethink the recipe because it can really, really change the finished texture of the food. So
cool. So maple is fantastic if you buy the real deal. Don't buy anything else. Don't buy that. Just get something else. Seriously, don't buy. Don't.
And if you go to a pancake house, which I haven't done in probably 40 years, but when I was a kid, you'd go to the place that sold pancake. It was all, they'd have like 20 different flavors of syrup.
Wow.
And not one of them was real. It was all just
Crazy.
corn syrup with different flavorings added to each one. Even the berries wasn't even real berry sauce. It wasn't like they did a coulis or something. They just would take corn syrup and add cherry flavor or blueberry flavor.
No. Buy only the good stuff, people. It's really worth it. Okay.
Buy good maple.
Buy
good charcuterie.
Huh?
I said buy good maple, buy good quality charcuterie, buy good quality sauce.
Yeah. There's no food that's bad. I mean, it's very rare to find good food that's completely natural. It's very difficult.
And again, the people that talk about fat, or they talk about any of the food phobias they have and that they don't want to eat things, you have to remember that you don't have to eat a lot. You eat small bits. I mean, pate is a good example. I find it hard to eat a small amount of pate, but you do have to put the brakes on eventually. But I don't eat it every day either, necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy some and I'll end up eating it every day at cocktail hour until it's gone, and then it's gone, and I might not have it for a few days. But it's all about moderation. It's all about just controlling yourself and not giving in to your hunger. Also, it depends on whether I have dinner following or not.
So, before your next question, there's Kenneth has another question.
You also dry age steak.
No, I mean we don't at the plant, but my wife does in the refrigerator all the time.
Oh, okay. In the fridge.
In the fridge, yeah.
Okay.
Whenever she buy meats or like flank steak or things like that, or ribeye, she just let it open, in the fridge for a couple of days, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Before we eat it, yeah.
So how do you leave it? Just open, like just?
Yeah, she just, usually, it's already packed tight in the packaging, so we just kind of open it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And just the steak in, because sometimes also they will put like a piece of like a plastic bag in it, put the steak in it and put a paper.
Yeah,
so
no, I always remove.
Yeah. The meat need to breathe, and it starts, aging a little bit, and after 3 or 4 days, it makes a difference. Yeah.
No salt, nothing.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just put it on a plate. I put it on a small plate. And put it in
So I put it onto a tray.
Yeah, or a tray.
I usually go like this. I take my tray. I do exactly the same thing with my fish, by the way, guys. When I buy fish, this is what I do. And meat, I've never tried, but I think I can do that. When I buy my fish, I have my tray. I'm going to get a double paper, so like a long one. I'm going to put my fish here, and then I'm going to close it.
Yeah.
And then that goes in the fridge.
Yeah, it's what she does basically. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I never thought about it with meat, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take the steak out. If I'm going to make a steak tonight, I would probably have it out of the refrigerator by now. It's almost 4 o'clock. If we were going to cook it, say 6 or 6:30, I would have the meat out by now. A lot of times if I go to the butcher store and I'm going to cook the meat that night, I won't even put it in the refrigerator. I'll just put it on a plate and leave it out. And then I'll salt it about maybe 45 minutes to an hour before I cook it. I salt it really well on both sides with sea salt. And then I just let it sit.
Right. So there's 2 things that actually are very good, and I'm sure Sébastien is gonna like that, because remember, Sébastien is a future inspector. And there's 2 things for your meat. When I was in Paris, I know I talked about that a long time ago. I used to order my T-bones because I had a Tex-Mex restaurant in Paris, one of the first Tex-Mex in France. Big place, 6,000 square foot. It was really, really cool. And then I would get my T-bones. My butcher hated that because that's not a French piece. So
All right.
he would give me the whole thing. So I had to buy the rack because I could not buy a couple of T-bones because he's like, I don't know what to do with the rest. You make me that weird cut. So I had to buy all the T-bones in one rack. And what I did to keep it, because I didn't sell those T-bones every day, I would put a big tray, deeper tray, like a high like this, load all my T-bones, and I would pour a couple of quarts of oil.
Mm-hmm.
And that act like sous vide. It's the same idea as sous vide. The meat doesn't move at all. It's pretty cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the question for Sébastien. One of the things that's very cool is the amount of saturated fat in your meat tells you how long you can keep it outside, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's why red meat keeps way longer. And I think the health code goes for 4 hours unless it's hot outside. If it's hot outside, nothing stays outside, nothing. Mm-hmm. But if it's normal, the red meat has so much saturated fat. And saturated fat is extremely important to understand. It cannot be oxidized. That's why we like it, is because it cannot be broken. It cannot be damaged. You understand that? So it's a pure fat. It's a beautiful stuff that you eat. And especially with the COVID-19 and all this stuff, you need that membrane of all your cells to be extremely solid and very strong. And that's what fat does. That's what membranes are for. So the more saturated fat is in the meat, the longer it can stay outside because it cannot be broken or bad. You see how it works? So people are afraid of saturated fat, but they don't get it, basically. They don't understand the concept. And it's okay. More for us, right?
More for us. And that's
like
why
how much is beef tallow? Beef tallow, not $29 a pound or something?
Oh yeah, beef tallow is expensive, yeah.
Like if you want to cook with beef fat, it's about $29. I mean, we used to buy some, and I'm like, no, it's too expensive. We can't afford that. That's crazy. But I mean, that's a beautiful fat. That's amazing. Make French fries in beef tallow.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll do in duck fat.
Duck fat
is also great.
That's because you're from the
Southwest. Yeah.
So actually, quick question, my friend. Sébastien, Southwest, isn't it the place of foie gras and duck? What? Confit? No.
Yeah, duck confit, foie gras. I mean, mostly, we raise a lot of duck in the southwest of France. Yeah, so, and obviously, yeah, we have foie gras, we have truffle. We have a lot of things from starting all the way from the Périgord all the way down to to the Pyrenees, basically. Yeah. So.
Now, Sebastian, let me ask you a question, and I think I know the answer, but people wonder, is this the kind of food that you ate growing up? I mean, did you eat a lot of the local food, the local pâtés and sausages? I know that your products at Fabrique de Lys are from all over France, but the ones that are actually from your region, is that how you grew up eating?
Yeah, I mean, one of my grandpa was on the side of my mom at a farm, and on the other side of my dad was a chef. So I was kind of exposed to both of the best worlds. So, but I was closer to my grandpa on my mom's side. So I spent all of my time, in the farm. They had cattle, they had like chicken, ducks, horses. And they were still, doing like, corn, wheat, everything from, that you can, find in a farm. And we are still making the wine also for the whole family. So, I mean, and we are making eau de vie, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So it's.
What's eau de vie? What's eau de vie?
It's.
Water of life.
We'll call it grappa or aqua de la vida, So, and my dad still makes some today, and even my mom, they still make preserved duck confit. They buy the whole pigs and and lamb and make their own stuff. Yeah, So, when we go back there, sometimes during the summer, I mean, they are waiting for us before they they will they will collect, all of the potatoes. So last time we went with the kids and we took the tractor and you go and on the field and get the potatoes all together with the whole family. So I mean, the experience that you have like this, it's,
I know.
It's nowhere, nowhere else.
I had the same experience because in the summer we used to go to a farm a lot of time, and sometimes we would work there. And I remember driving the tractor. What a fun stuff, man!
Yeah,
the tractor is like.
Oh yeah.
I drove a tractor before I could drive a car.
Right. It's insane, this thing. It's so cool.
And I mean, the best things about the farm and where we are today, with a COVID-19, it's you have to think about the waste. You want to use everything. And charcuterie is the best example for it. Where we went through 2 wars in France. So I mean, my grandpa was deported. So. You need to preserve everything you have on the farm, and nothing was going to waste. There are like 7 kids, so it just the way we learn, so every time the kids want to waste something, I'm just like, come on, we don't do that.
I know. My
family, that's how these foods originated. I mean, it was all a matter of if you had a pig and you were going to slaughter a pig, you didn't eat a bunch of fresh meat. You have to preserve that for the whole winter, for all preserve it for the following summer, in fact. So you have sausages, you have ham, pate, whatever you could do. What do they say? Everything but the squeak.
And also, you talk about, the pork and all of the charcuterie, but, every farm had a pig. And mostly every year they had 1 pig, and the pig was eating mostly all of, when they were doing potatoes, all of the peel of the potatoes, all of the stuff from the farm. So nothing was going to waste either on that part, So it was kind of a circle, So it's what kind of we learned that growing up, So and I see my kids, they grow up in America, but they like to go back to France. Our grandparents are cooking a lot. So it's funny, I let them, they like to do like pastry. So I let them do sometimes and they do like all of the decoration, like blue, all of that. And they serve me the cake. I say, I don't want to eat it. They're like, why? I say, the whole flavor you get, it's on the top, and it's only sugar, so when you stop doing that, I'm going to start eating your pastry. It looks more, appealing. So now, they are doing, pastry with no top, and they come to the table and they're like, "Hey, this is the pastry, and I didn't put anything on top." It's like, okay, perfect.
Oh, that's funny.
They have to learn good food, man.
Yeah.
No, it's sugar is a
they know how to roll out
big problem for people. Yep.
Yeah.
James, we have about 3 minutes. Do you want to give a quote or your little last one?
You know what? I just wanted to iterate what you guys were saying about the farm, except I went to Iowa.
The farm is
very different than France. When I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of those kind of food traditions, but we did. It was, again, nothing went to waste. And I remember getting up in the morning and going out with my aunt to the chicken coop, and she showed me how to roust the chickens and get the eggs out. And I remember them being so warm. She's the first one that she gave me milk right out of the cow. So it was warm and it was delicious.
I know that's so fun.
And it's an experience that I think is very important. And a lot of kids don't ever get that experience. Mm-hmm. And I didn't grow up on a farm, but we visited one often because our families all had farms in Iowa. And if nothing else, I knew I had a good idea of where my food came from. Which I think a lot of kids today don't.
Kenny, we'll talk next week. Next week we'll talk about the sugar and the bread. It's actually important sometimes, so we can talk about it next week. It has think of sugar as moisture, but we can talk about it next week. I'll explain to you why sugar may be important in the bread making.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you, Sebastian, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time.
No, thank you, guys. It's fun to be with you.
I wish we could all sit down to a nice charcuterie tray right now, but
maybe the next phase, when if we stay shelter in place for a long time. Nobody knows. We might have some of the people in the high tech world. Should have to think of a way of we can. After a video, I enjoy a couple of glass of wine. So
that's right. That's right. Well,
nice.
Hey, I wanna. We need to have Frode back on the show. I want to talk to him more.
Okay.
About this crazy platform over there. I want to, Kenny. We have to. Frode, you want to talk to us?
Well, also, we hope one day to be back in the same studio together.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when we do that, we can have you on the show again, and we can actually put together some charcuterie selections. We can talk about, how to pair it with different foods. It'll be great fun. We can have wine.
And also, we need to go to Semi Freddy. He wants us to go, Tom, to go film over there and make the show at the bakery. So we'll do that someday.
So we can make you a show.
Next week we have Farid from. I forgot.
Oh, the cheese.
He makes eau de vie. He makes.
Yes. What's? Come on, help me.
I can't think of his company's name either. This is a guy that we used to work with at César.
He's one of the best alcohol in the area. Are you kidding?
He's a scientist by profession, but he and now he's making all these artisanal.
Let me find it, Chef. Give me 2 more minutes. I'm sorry. I know I'm going over, but I need to show. I'm so sorry, Farid. What am I doing?
He makes artisanal. He's making amaros basically and liqueur, and they're really, really good. We've used them at César.
Falcon Spirit.
What is it?
Falcon Spirit. Which I'm going to go right now. It's called Falcon Spirit.
He's in Richmond, I think.
Yes, it's a beautiful, amazing alcohol, and he's going to be with us next week. And he's an old friend of us.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
And actually, we worked together in Berkeley. At César.
Yeah.
And it's funny because people used to confuse us.
That's right.
Olivier, did you work at César too?
I opened César in 1998 with a bunch of people.
Oh, okay.
So this is my friend. This is our friend.
Oh, that's right. He's doing gin too.
So he's coming next week. Farid from Falcon Spirit, absolutely amazing guy. He has great stories and he makes the most amazing stuff. And there you go.
Okay, thank you, Sébastien. Everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Olivier.
Look for these.
Sébastien, salut, à bientôt.
Ciao. Merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
À bientôt.
Ouais.
Ciao.